My mother spent years controlling my life, my choices, even my emotions. Everyone thought she was an angel, but behind closed doors, she treated me like her personal puppet. I stayed silent for years until the day she crossed the one line I could never forgive, and that's when I decided, I'm taking my life back. Hi, I'm Anna, and this is the story of how my own mother, yes, a woman who should have protected me, spent years manipulating, gaslighting, and emotionally destroying me until I finally broke free. And trust me, my revenge wasn't loud. It was quiet, calculated, and the most painful payback she could ever receive. I grew up in a small house where my mother, Lydia, ruled everything. She wasn't the screaming type. Her power was her silence, her guilt trips, her ability to twist every situation until she became the victim and I became the ungrateful daughter. Most of my childhood memories revolve around her words. After everything I've sacrificed for you, if you loved me, you'd do what I say. You owe me your life. I believed her. I was a kid. What did I know? By the time I turned 18, I wasn't allowed to choose my clothes, my friends, or even my college major. She forced me into nursing because it's respectable and mothers brag about daughters like that. But here's the thing, she didn't brag out of pride. She bragged out of ownership. My father left when I was young, and she spent years telling me he left because of me. That one sentence shaped my entire identity. When I got my first job, she demanded half my salary because the roof over your head isn't free. When I tried moving out, she guilt-tripped me by saying she'd die alone and how a good daughter never abandons her mother. She controlled what I posted on social media. She read my messages. She made me break up with my first boyfriend because he will take you away from me. I thought this was love. It took me years to understand it was manipulation. Everything changed when I was 26. I met David, kind, patient, and someone who actually treated me like a human being. For the first time, I felt seen. My mother hated him instantly. At first, she pretended to like him, but the moment he left the room, she'd whisper all kinds of poison. He's using you. He'll cheat on you. He'll leave you like your father. Her favorite line was, "Men love destroying women with weak minds." Funny, because she was the one who destroyed mine. One evening, after I got home from work, I found her sitting on the couch with my phone in her hand. She had gone through everything, my chats, my photos, even private conversations with David. She looked at me and said, "I told him you're not mature enough for a relationship." He agreed. My stomach dropped. "What did you do?" I asked, shaking. "I saved you," she answered proudly, and that was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped, like a string pulled too tight for too long, finally breaking. For the first time, I saw her clearly, not as my mother, but as the person who destroyed my confidence, my dreams, my entire life. Revenge doesn't always come as flames and screams. Sometimes it starts with choosing yourself. I didn't fight her. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I simply said, okay, because she had no idea her reign was about to end. Over the next month, I planned everything. I secretly opened a new bank account. I slowly transferred my savings. I applied for a job in another city. I packed small bags and stored them at a friend's place. I found an apartment 3 hours away. Every step felt like oxygen filling my lungs for the first time. Meanwhile, my mother thought she had one. She'd smirk at me, pat my head. Tell relatives Anna is finally becoming obedient again. If only she knew. A week before I was supposed to leave, she crossed her final line. I came home early and heard her talking on the phone. Not just talking, boasting, saying how she kept me trapped, how she broke any relationship Anna tried to have, and how she controlled me better than most mothers could ever dream. She laughed. That's when I pressed record on my phone. I had evidence now. Proof of years of manipulation. She didn't know I was standing behind the door recording every word. The morning I moved out, everything was silent. I walked into the living room with my packed suitcase. She looked shocked. "Where are you going?" I really smiled for the first time in years. "To live my own life, you can't," she snapped. "You owe me." "No," I interrupted. "I owe myself." She threatened to disown me. I said, "Okay." She threatened to ruin my reputation. I shrugged. She tried to guilt-trip me into staying. That's when I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Her face turned white. She begged me not to leave. She cried, fake tears. She promised to change, but I knew better. I left without looking back. For months, she called non-stop. I blocked her. She created new numbers. I blocked those two. My relatives tried guilt-tripping me until I sent them the recording. Suddenly, everyone went silent. Nobody defended her anymore. My mother was forced to face her reality, a life where she could no longer control me. That was my revenge. Not anger, not screaming, just freedom. Because the worst punishment for a toxic parent is realizing their child no longer fears them. I built myself from scratch. I started therapy. I reconnected with David, who, by the way, never received the messages she claimed he did. I began making friends. I decorated my own apartment. I learned to cook, sleep peacefully, and live without checking over my shoulder. Piece by piece, I reclaimed everything she stole from me: confidence, identity, self-respect. And the best part, now when I look in the mirror, I finally recognize the woman staring back. She isn't broken anymore. She isn't controlled. She isn't small. She's free. People think revenge is destroying the other person, but sometimes revenge is rebuilding yourself until the person who hurt you realizes they lost control forever. And trust me, my mother realized it. If you're listening to this and you're stuck with a toxic parent, you deserve freedom too, and it starts the moment you choose yourself. Thanks for listening to my story. Stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone, family or not, control your life.